Man, how many of these are you gonna do a day? Another live video? How much of this are you gonna do? As much as it takes. I'm down here. It's a beautiful, beautiful winter's day here in Cincinnati. I'm in my workshop where I've been puttering all day. I've been puttering around in my workshop. Nothing too serious, just puttering around. It's nice. I've been, today was a really, really pleasant day. It started off with a sense of, I'd have to call it an unpleasant start this morning because yesterday I did a video that I cannot apologize for yesterday's videos. Certainly can't. And I suspect that for those who feel that yesterday I crossed a line that was perhaps maybe wrong or something, I have a feeling that I'm going to let you down even more. I'll disappoint the fragile. And because this conversation that we're having about skateboarding, it's an ongoing, multifaceted conversation. I think if we got the 40,000 foot view on it, we would see that skateboarding isn't always really about just skateboarding. Maybe it's best when it is just about skateboarding and you're just in that zen place of just you and your skateboard. But isn't the thing that makes that zen so precious all the stuff that skateboarding is not? And in that contrast between what skateboarding is and isn't, aren't we finding something that's a little bit bigger or beyond the act of skateboarding? Yeah. Heady stuff. I'm a heady guy. And I have a strong sense of value for this kind of intellectualizing. And I've carried a strong sadness in the past that this sort of thinking is spoken against as being kooky. But you know what they say on the internet? Get a little sugar in me, and I get kooky. Speaking of which, I quit eating sugar again. I won't be eating sugar for as long as I can keep it up. It does me good. I've enjoyed since December eating whatever I wanted to, November. And that's typical of me. Around November, December, I just go into feast mode. Feast mode is like beast mode, except it's basically the opposite entirely. Instead of getting all ramped up and doing crazy feats of daring do and might, I do the opposite. I sit in chairs a lot, eating in chairs and sitting in chairs with food comas. So, but I wanted to do a kind of a daily recap here. It's been a good, pleasant day. Lots of correspondence. Very little, no despondence. Lots of correspondence and no despondence. Very happy feelings today because there's this. You got to count the cost of speaking out your conscience and your mind, and you have to count the cost to not speaking your conscience and your mind as well. Counting the cost of speaking out in terms of your conscience is simpler. Usually people will be mad, and you know that's unpleasant. You don't want to be disagreeable to the expectations of other people who want you to be agreeable to them, And I'm finding it necessary, not only for the sake of my conscience toward people and my sense of duty to society, but also toward my own mental health and my own the integrity of my hull. as I captain this pirate ship of my body through this world, it's becoming necessary for me to assert with some relative disagreeableness that, like yesterday. I mean, if you want to see yesterday, just go on my my YouTube and you can see yesterday's posts. And there's going to be plenty more of that by the time, I finally punch my ticket and leave this planet, which, it's not morbid to me to say that. Every one of us comes to the end of our earthly sojourn, so relax. I mean, it's good to take into account. Besides, this workshop used to be a mortuary. I think you guys must all know that. I mean, if I got 16 viewers live on this Facebook feed, Greg Pravasnik says I'm fully reclined with the cat sleeping on my lap. Well, I was fully reclined with the dog sleeping on my lap for an hour earlier too. I'm trying not to re-injure my back, and I have these ribs. I redid my ribs. They're not broken, but I did the first 3 nights with the rib injury. I was fine, but now yesterday I shoveled snow, and it was like, oh dude, all night I couldn't get comfortable, so I was half sleeping. And you know what? That's fine, because I need to rest that Achilles injury I've got. So as long as my ribs are broken, I'm going to take it easy and not get too froggy, and my Achilles gets to heal up. You see how it all works together? I wonder how many of you can relate to that kind of thing. I like to give thanks for things that usually I wouldn't. I don't always have to use a lot of imagination or intellect to figure out the bright side of a thing either. Other times, yes. Many times I can't do it, so I just give thanks anyway. Bitter thanks. I render bitter praise to the Almighty. But here in the workshop today, I spent a good amount of time on the phone with friends and in chats with friends, as I see that engaging, if I were to take it easy and be as agreeable as I could, I still wouldn't succeed in not tipping over a bunch of tables and causing a whole bunch of trouble. It's just a fact. I mean, let me give you an example, okay? Well, I mean, I'll just pick one. This is a couple Decembers ago. I got a call, and I helped a young person to conceive of how they could get the best board they could get for a beginner. They were a beginner. Their dad actually called me and then put them on the phone. And so as I was helping this young person, I could tell that they needed to make a blended purchase. They weren't going to be able to afford an entire complete from my workshop at the time, because that was like $250, just how it is. And they liked my work, but I told them, I said, hey, look, you save money wherever you can on your first board, and then just match up your trucks and your wheels. What do you want to do on your board? Blah, blah, blah. Got there, dialed it in. They made a list. And so she went to the skate shop. Eventually, a couple days later, there were a couple more, text threads and calls and stuff like that, and all the time with the dad. So I don't like to correspond with kids, but this wasn't a kid. This was a 19-year-old young lady. And dad was involved because I think he's just a wise dad. He was cool. So she goes to the skate shop, and she gets her stuff, and then that night there's this big social media post from the skate shop owner about these idiots coming in here with a list that they got doing research on the internet. Nobody should be looking on the internet, and just puts on blast the entire purchase experience that this dear one just had in the skate shop. This is Cincinnati. It's not every skate shop, but it's solidly true of our most prominent skate shops. I'm sorry, man, it's just true, and here I am. I'm not being agreeable. Why would you want to be agreeable to that? I had to do something really disagreeable. I had to ask myself, am I going to wait until this dear one sees this post to find that out all alone? Or am I going to go ahead and hit this one up and say, hey, I don't know if you saw this, but your shopping got put on blast today. I want to let you know we've got your back. I did the second one. I texted her and her dad and let them know there was a social media blast about her visit. It's negative. You can, and they checked it out. And then I prepared her a nice gift that Christmas from my workshop. It was one of the Yeah, it was my last Christmas I was open, and I was sad that I couldn't do more for my city through my business. And that I don't want to be agreeable to that sort of thing. You can mark me down 100%. Now that I don't have a business, I can continue to be. See, any disagreeableness I showed there was painted as I'm some sort of predatory business guy just trying to, get market share. And now I have this blessing of being free from all that. And I have no financial bone to pick. I mean, eventually maybe this could develop into some kind of media, but I think that paid media like this is a dime a dozen. There's millions of people making content. I cannot see a future in which this is a money grab. I do intend to launch a patronage campaign where I would render the service of consultation and direct help to makers, and also interesting social commentary, insider tracks, and want to do road trips and visit people and profile makers and scenes and do more media that way. And that would be a patronage thing, and it'll probably happen in the spring. I've got a lot of work to do before I get to that. But you can see that agreeableness in regard to this, I mean, I just don't want to be agreeable. And I won't be agreeable with things that are ridiculous. I might not ridicule them, but if they're hurting the mind of the Gemeinde, unsere Gemeinde, if they're hurting the community or they're narrowing things down, I'll totally talk about them, and I won't always say nice things. I can guarantee I try to be really nice because I'm scared of never having any friends. Boy, would I be nastier if I were braver. Oh, I'd be so nasty sometimes. I also believe I have an accounting to give for every word I say, so I really want to go down being gentle, being kind, being patient, even with people who would love to see me beaten to a pulp. And there are those people. It's always a spicy life. But I'm happy to see Grady Hayes on here right now. Grady, I greet you. Dude, it's nice to see you. Thanks for that little clip you did today back and forth. I saw that on my feed. Thanks for being there. Niceties need to be earned, says Greg Pravasnik. I think respect, there's a certain baseline respect that I'll treat you with that you can lose. But there are certain levels of respect and degrees of respect you will not receive from me without earning them. And demanding respect from me, and this is very big in the 1990s era stuff. No. You don't have clout just because you say you have clout. And if you run, there's Russellville, Arkansas again. Hey, what's up? Good to see Russellville in the house. Just because, yeah, I know. That doesn't work that way, and we shouldn't fall for that. We do fall for that. Anyways, I have a lot of things I'd like to say. Tomorrow morning, I'll join you guys again, and it's very likely we'll fall into a 1 to 3 videos running from late morning into the afternoon, and then a short nightcapper. We'll see. I'm not making any huge promises, but I really like sharing time with you guys. Also, I welcome your questions in my message inbox. If there's something you'd like me to talk about or to hear my take on, shoot me a message. I'd love to talk about it, and that would do me great. I see John Leyendecker on here. Hey, Brother John. So I'm going to jump off of here and go back into the finishing of a day. I'll be talking about stuff tomorrow. I'll have my little thing set up here, and we'll do that. And hopefully, probably not this week because tomorrow's Friday. There's snow, so the skating isn't really happening. I'll dredge out some old clips and talk about faith like Abraham. I reckon everything I talk about like Abraham, because I got this beard dangling off my face. I think he had the same kind of deal. I like to, at least. Maybe not. I don't know if Abraham was clean shaven. I'll know later when I high five him on the other side in glory. All right, friends. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace be with your spirits, and I'll catch you tomorrow.